Hey y'all, insight number 4. So this is the story of David and Goliath. Probably, other than Adam and Eve and Noah and the Ark and Moses crossing the Red Sea, this would be the best Bible story next to Jesus Christ existing. That's sort of one of the standard that most people have heard of, even if they're not Christian. They still have some awareness of it. So I'm not going to tell the story because you guys know the story. We're just going to go over some points about it. And if you don't know the story, go and read it. It's in 1 Samuel chapter 17. And if you don't have a Bible, it's online. You can find it very easily. Google is amazing at that. So go read it. If you've joined us and you don't have a Bible, go read it there. There's some good points in the Come Follow Me manual, and I'm going to use one of those from President Hinckley talking about modern day Goliaths, because that's what we're going to focus on. Because again, it's what we can help us with now, not just learning a history lesson. It's how it can help us now. So, chapter 17, it's quotes that how tall Goliath was, that he was 6 cubits in a span, which is 9 foot 9 inches, so pretty big. Kind of, ultimate basketballer, really. Now, talks about how big his spear is and how scary everything was, how big his spear was, and that it was so big and he was so tall that someone actually carried a shield in front of him. So a scary dude. He was in the Philistine army, and it was the tradition that you send out a champion. So rather than all going to battle, you send out a champion to fight, and whoever of those champions wins the war, saving a lot of lives and a lot of problems. But they could still fight too. I guess that just sort of happened. But the tradition and the practice was that whole champion thing. So Goliath's their champion, and he's kind of that champion that's expected to never fail because he's so big, huge, scary, and strong, and pretty much quite dominant. One of those big, grunty males. So David brings up on his father's, come get that. Take some food to your brothers who are in the army. So you can read lots of things in here. Chapter 17 is a little long, but it's a really good story. So honestly, go read it. It is really good. But so we're fairly familiar with it. And because we're fairly familiar with it, let's just look at how to face modern day Goliaths. And we're also going to cover 45 to 47, which is a little bit in what President Hinckley taught. But 45 to 47, you pretty much call it the champion's speech. It's what Samuel answers to Goliath's smackdown talk. So, yeah. Anyway, so we're all fairly familiar with it. So here's some wise words from President Hinckley. But here's some points first about this whole story that we can pick up. So 1, if God is with you, you will not fail, even though the victory might look different than you thought. But if God is with you, you will not fail. 2, causes of God are worth fighting for, but in the inspired way. So it's not always with fists, it might be with words, it might even be with silence. So there are different ways to fight. Don't always think of it as like a big punch-up. 3, be a willing servant, because that makes you teachable and more able to hear the Spirit. And David had already slew a bear and a lion. So what bears and lions have you already conquered? Giving experience to you. So giving you experience. So what have you already been through that will give you experience for this big thing that's coming at you now? Think about that too. There's also fight best the battle with the tools you know well, because they try and give him Saul gives him like big armor and it's too big for him, and he's like, I can't wear this, I can't even walk. So he goes out in his loincloth with a sling and some rocks. And you're thinking, what? This dude's nuts. He's going to die. So fight best the battle with the tools you know well. Use your skills you have. Don't just pick up this new skill and think, that's going to be the best one for the battle. Use the skills you already have. Go with that. 1 stone was needed to slay Goliath. However, David picked up 5. So 1 stone was needed, but have plans 2, 3, 4, and 5. Have backup plans. All right. Now, President Hinckley taught, I'm going to read this too. Bear with. There are Goliaths all around you, hulking giants with evil intent to destroy you. These are not 9-foot tall men, but they are men in institutions that control attractive but evil things that may challenge and weaken and destroy you. But you need not fear if you have the slingshot of truth in your hands. You have the stones of virtue and honor and integrity to use against these enemies who would like to conquer you. Insofar as you are concerned, you can hit them between the eyes in a figurative expression. You can triumph over them by disciplining yourselves to avoid them. You can say to the whole lot of them, as David said to Goliath, "Thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear and with a shield. But I come to thee in the name of the Lord of hosts, the God of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defied." Yeah. Ooh, got goosebumps. Don't you just want to do that? Go out to your enemies and be like, okay, you might come at me with all of this, but I come to you with the Lord on my side. You're not going to win, mate. President Spencer W. Kimball just briefly said way back in 1974, before I was even born, but still a good quote. Remember that every David has a Goliath to defeat, and every Goliath can be defeated. So, the Lord's always there. So remember those points. If God is with you, you will not fail. Causes of God are worth fighting for, but fighting might always not be a punch-up. There's better ways. It doesn't mean killing people with a sword always. There's a lot of ways to fight and stand up for the good causes. To be a willing servant, to remain humble and teachable. What experience have you already got to help you fight this new thing? Fight the best battle with the tools you already have and know. And one stone was needed. So you got one plan, but have plans 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, there's some good points there. If you've got anything to weigh in on the whole story of David and Goliath, there's some amazing things in there. I actually love it when in 29 David comes in and he's saying to his brothers who aren't listening to him, they're just like, oh, go away, you're annoying us. He's like, but there's a cause here. We need to fight for this cause. This is going to save our people. So he's really like, is there not a cause? Is there not, when we stand up for things like women's rights, for LGBTQI plus rights, for freedom of speech rights, for gun control rights, for all sorts of things like that, is there not a good cause? Is there not a cause here that God would back us on? That's what you got to think of. And those are the things that you go fighting for. Again, in different ways, not always with weapons and fists and stuff. There are many ways to fight and stand up for these things and for yourself. All right. So there's some thoughts. If you've got anything to weigh in, put in the comments. Love to hear it. All right. Hang around. We're going to talk about the value of good friends because this is cool. I'll see you there.